Hey YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update today of Litecoin. Right now we're sitting at $42.33. We're up 0.31%. What we're going to be doing today is looking at Litecoin in on the 4 hour, and I want to focus on trend line breaks and also changing this trend, because we're getting to the point now what you're seeing is the breaks getting put on this trend, at least of right now, and that's how it needs to or has to reverse, guys. And the way that these things reverse is you can look for a one-day reversal. Sometimes that can be the case, or other times you can actually look at up to several years for a reversal. If it's a lot of accumulation and almost one of those rounded bottoms, they can take a lot of time until you really start moving. Now, do I think that's the case for Litecoin? I don't, just due to the fact that the space moves so fast and aggressively, both to the upside as well as the downside. But there's a few things that I want to get into today with you, and we're going to be looking at the trend. We're going to talk about how the trend's potentially slowing down. We're going to look at some trend line breaks and also the need for increased volume. So if you get something from these today, guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate you all being here with me today. Like I said, we're going to keep grinding through Litecoin. I don't care what the price is. It's a coin that I've always liked. It was the first coin I ever bought when I got into cryptocurrency. So obviously I have some attachment to it, and I know a lot of you guys have attachments to it as well, and we want to see it do well in the future here. So what we're digging into today is the trend and how we've been setting lower highs and lower lows. And what I want to talk to you about were the trend line breaks. So guys, each time we've had these big dumps down, we'll typically have between about, I'd say, a week and a month where we have a reaction, where we start climbing back up after a big fall. So after this climb that we had here, we actually, guys, ended up dropping from around $116. We went all the way down to $77 before we had this next reaction. And that's the power of these trend line breaks on the short term. If you would have just sold out when we broke down through there, you could have saved yourself a lot of money there. And I want to do this several times just to show you the benefit of dealing with these trend lines and paying attention to trend lines. So after we had this big fall from the low up to the high of our reaction, we actually had a reaction of over 40%. So if you know how to play these, they can be very beneficial to you. If you understand you're still in a downtrend, but you'll have certain key areas to where you actually want to get out. Like once the price on the 1 day will hit that 50 moving average when you're in a downtrend and we have a reaction back up to it, a lot of people will sell off that. So there's different key areas that you want to look at. But in terms of these trend line breaks, guys, whenever you're playing a reaction and you see a trend line break, take a look at this. We went from $90 all the way down to $60. Then we had a 30% reaction from this low up to the high. And what we've been typically dealing with in terms of reactions is 40%, 30%. You can see right here, so we had a 40, we had a 30, we had a 41 from the low up to the high. And then now what I want to do is go from our low here up to around that 38, 40%, which would put us potentially at around $50. If we are to really start moving hard out of the position that we're in now, first area I would look at is that $50. That's going to be this overhead resistance area right here. And then the next spot we need to get up to is around that $66. But what I like to see with the trend here on the 4 hours is the fact that it's starting to flatten out a little bit. You can see at the beginning of this, we're having really sharp drops. Do you see that? Sharp drops, sharp drops. And now what we're starting to do is just slowly flatten out a little bit. And I wanted to talk about this in case you haven't seen some of my other videos. What I've been reading out of is the Japanese candlestick charting book, and it talks about basically the brakes on a car. So it's the same with a trend. Whenever you put on your brakes in a car, you don't instantly stop there. Yes, you hit the brake pedal, but you continue to move forward until you actually get to that stopping point, right? Okay, so guys, whenever you hit on those brakes, it never stops instantly, and that's the same with trends. What you need to do is slow that trend down so that we can finally start getting a trend reversal. Do you see this here, how steep it was, and now it's starting to flatten out? Down in this area, we really started to flatten around November 21st, 2019 is when we didn't have as aggressive drops as we were having before, and I think that's something that's important that we need to pay attention to. But just looking at these trend line breaks, guys, to the downside, and it's the same to the upside when you're having upside trend line breaks. But it's so important for us to capture these moves, whether it be to the upside or the downside, because you're looking at 30 to 40%. You don't want to lose 40% of your initial investment. That's what I like to do. I want to try to help people save money. But in terms of these reversals, just like over here, guys, do you see we were really steep and we were just getting pressed down, and then we had one final flush until we started to have this inverse head and shoulders, and that was the pattern that got us out of this. And that's why patterns can be so important for us as well. But that inverse head and shoulders, that was the bottom. So now what we're trying to find is that bottom, and it all starts with higher highs and higher lows. And I want to zoom into price action here on the 4-hour and show you what's been taking place. So in terms of putting in higher lows, you can see this yellow trend line. This is the trend line I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. If we start breaking down through here, then things could get ugly, guys, and we could start falling back around that $36 range, $35. But I like that the bulls stepped in here at a higher price, so they did set that higher low. So now, guys, that's why I said it's so important for us to start breaking over top of these areas. Like $43.87 is going to be an area of overhead resistance. And then the next one would be around that $50, and that's going to be a key area for us there. We have not been at $50 since November 9th, 2019, so we've spent a lot of time getting pressed to the downside. But you can see this fight here and how we're trying to get over top of these moving averages and have them act as support right there. You can see that long wick right there. That was us going down and testing the 50 on the 4-hour. Now we're going to have to see if we do get some type of move out of there. Next, what I wanted to do was step out to the 1-day chart. And we're going to look at the 1-day chart, and we're also going to look at a few indicators here. And also, guys, like I said, you get some from this channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I appreciate y'all helping me grow this channel. Just trying to do the best that I can. Like I said, I'm still, guys, I've studied this stuff for 2 years now, and I'm still a beginner in all this. You can never reach the bottom of how much studying you can actually do in this space. You could spend a year on candlesticks, then a year on trend analysis, then a year on the different indicators that you can use. I mean, there's just so many different things, Fibonacci, that you can use that can be beneficial for you. But in terms of the 1-day chart, you can see we had a bullish engulfing candle that got put in. It got put in on heavier volume, so that was good. And we have not dropped below that point of $36 since we put in that bullish engulfing candle. And then what happened yesterday was we actually had another bullish engulfing candle when we closed up above this 20 EMA, and that's really important for us. We need to stay up above that, and you can see right now we're having a doji, which is a fight between the bulls and the bears over top of this 20 EMA right now. So that's just showing the importance of it, guys. But we need to pay attention to that 20, and we need to stay up above it, because truly we haven't had many candle closes up above it. Our first one was back here around October 25th, 2019. We stayed up above it until we lost it there. And guys, I apologize. I'm going to have to get off right now. My computer's running out of battery. I'm not able to plug it in right now, so we're going to end this right here. But that's what I wanted to show you guys. 2 bullish engulfing candles, and we're trying to get those higher lows put in so we can continue to make a move and come up here. God bless you all.